Welcome to the TMZ podcast. I'm Charlie Neff.
I'm Edward Lewis.
Wow, Edward, big sports guy here on deck.
With a lot of sports topics today.
Yes.
Sports
and
adjacent.
We have a lot of topics to get into today. Taylor Swift thanked her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, during her VMAs speech. Shannon Sharpe, wow. He is embarrassed by a sex live stream and admits he wasn't hacked.
Right.
Oh.
He said he was and then he wasn't. We'll get into it.
Yeah, okay. Justin Timberlake scores a huge win in his DWI case. He pled guilty to just a traffic offense and kind of got off pretty easy. And then Nikki Bella, she is officially filed for divorce from Artem Chigvintsev after the domestic violence arrest. And we got the documents on that, and we'll give you all the details as well. But starting first with Taylor Swift, VMAs was last night. It was amazing. I don't know if you watched it. A lot of Britney Spears tributes. Meg Thee Stallion did a tribute.
Tate McRae.
Tate McRae.
Mm-hmm.
But Taylor Swift totally stole the show. She won a ton of awards. And she snagged a VMA award for the video of the year for her song Fortnite. She went up on stage and she thanked Travis Kelce. And here's what she had to say.
When I would finish a take and I'd say cut and we'd be done with that take, I would always just hear like someone like cheering and like woo, like from across the studio where we were shooting it, and that one person was my boyfriend Travis. Everything this man touches turns to happiness and fun and magic, so I want to thank him for adding that to our shoot, because I'll always remember that.
Wow, gushing over him. Okay, here's my takeaway, other than she's obviously in love with him. She mentioned my boyfriend, Travis, and people thought that they were secretly engaged. Like when they went to Lake Como, it looked so romantic. They had this like candlelight dinner. Like people thought they got engaged on that trip, and maybe that she was just waiting to reveal it. But when she said boyfriend, it's pretty clear hasn't happened yet.
But would she? You would think that she would let it slip that my fiance?
I think she would have said fiance.
How quickly do you change that? Like I gotta imagine if I get engaged to somebody that I've been dating for a long time, who I've been calling my girlfriend, repeatedly introducing people to her as my girlfriend, all of a sudden now I'm gonna let slip that my fiance. You know what I mean? It just feels.
Wait, what do you mean?
I think you need a little bit more training to get to the point where you would.
So you think they're engaged? She just doesn't know how to say fiance yet?
What I'm saying is I don't think that her saying boyfriend last night is indicative of her being either engaged or not engaged.
Whoa, Edward. If she was engaged, she would have said my fiance, Travis Kelce, not boyfriend.
No, because they could still be trying to keep it under wraps, right? Like that's.
I think she would just be proud.
Well, if they whatever. Either way, I think I cannot get enough.
Are you secretly engaged and just not telling people?
If I was, it wouldn't slip out in that kind of fashion. You know what I mean?
But then she wouldn't have said boyfriend. She would just cut that, right? I feel like it was intentional.
I don't know.
Why are we arguing about this right now?
I want to get to my point. My point is that Travis and Taylor, no matter what they do, is always so interesting to us, or at least for me. Like this is just simply a famous person thanking their significant other. In fact, it happened 20 minutes prior.
So this didn't give you the feels at all.
Wait, listen. Okay, Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom do this, right? Last night you saw Katy Perry flies around, and then Orlando Bloom was like, "Here you go, Catherine Hudson, huh?" And nobody gave a rat. You know what I mean? And Taylor Swift says one line about Travis Kelce, like, he was at my show and it was really cool.
She gushed over him. She said that he does everything he does.
It was
makes
two
joy.
sentences. It was like, he's magical and happy and I love him. You know what I mean? And it was an applause break. Applause break.
Yeah.
Like I had never heard, like it was as if she had just like won like an Oscar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I cannot get over America's fascination, really my fascination. I remember when I saw it, I was like showing people, I was like,
they're all royalty.
But so was like, it's Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom and nobody cares. You know what I mean? I know it's been a longer time.
Right? She's kind of cringe right now.
But I'm just trying to say that like this couple has such staying power. it's mind blowing.
Edward,
and I'm
buckle up, baby,
No, but
because when they get engaged, when they have their wedding, when they have the kid, we're gonna be following all of it.
She shows up at Chiefs Stadium just to watch her boyfriend play, and it's all.
Shouldn't you be happy about this? You work for sports. It gives you something to write.
You're missing my point. I am one of them.
You're confused.
I am one of them who loves it.
You said you're confused.
I'm confused as to why I love it so much.
Okay.
As opposed to every other celebrity couple. Odell Beckham and Kim Kardashian get together and we're like, who cares? You know what I mean?
You know what it is, Edward? It's the fact that he shot his shot, right? He put it out there. He was into her. He went to her concert with the hope that he would see her. He had the little friendship bracelet with his phone number.
Right.
He talked about it. He's like, trying to get the girl. And then he got the girl.
We just talked about that last week with Noah Schnapp's Doja Cat drama.
No.
It's the same deal.
Noah Schnapp.
No, not Noah. You meant
Doja dating the guy.
And she shot her shot through Noah Schnapp and then got to date the actor.
that was interesting too.
Yeah, but
she's not on
Doja
Taylor
Cat goes up there and
Swift's
things. Either way, the point I'm trying to make is there's never been a celebrity couple like this with this kind of staying power. It's been over a year now, and they are still obsessed with each other. So.
Okay, well,
And
we're
obsessed with
moving
them.
on. We're moving on, Edward. I don't know what your point is.
I don't know why you don't get it.
Moving on to Shannon Sharpe. Oh my gosh, tell me what's going on with this.
So Shannon Sharpe, if you heard some weird noises coming from the sports desk yesterday, that
wasn't gonna ask.
Sounded like dirty videos. If you clicked on his Instagram live at around noonish yesterday, you were treated, I guess you could say, to what appeared to be porn. It was a phone that was face up on what appeared to be a bedside table and a male and a female going at it. And it was...
Could you see the male and the female, like who they were?
No. You couldn't really see anything. If anything, you saw a shoulder, a brief shoulder.
Shoulder?
You know what I mean? Like as it was like creeping into the
What?
camera. It just... but you could hear noises. And
so you and all the guys had this live stream on and were just huddled together watching this.
Doing absolute homework for the articles. Because we have now written 3 or 4. In fact, we're about to break another story right now about how he's not going to be punished for this. But anyway, so it very clearly seems to be Sharpe. He has a very distinguishable voice, and even when he is romping, you hear him kind of whispering, and I mean, and the woman appears to be enjoying herself, and it goes on for several minutes. Okay. Eventually, it comes down. We're like, what just happened?
Yeah. Okay.
A few minutes later, a slide goes up from Shannon Sharpe's Instagram account on his IG stories that says, "I've been hacked. Please be aware." Blah blah blah.
Okay.
That gets deleted a few minutes later.
Oh.
And now it's viral. I mean, Shannon Sharpe.
Now we think it's him?
Shannon Sharpe, yes. Shannon Sharpe is he's an amazing football player, Hall of Fame football player. But in his second act, he has become an even bigger broadcaster. He runs the Club Shay Shay podcast and has his own show with Chad Ochocinco, Nightcap. And it's a big deal, and everybody loves him. So this is spreading like wildfire on social media.
Did he get hacked or not?
So he goes on his show last night. It's called Nightcap.
Yeah.
He does it with Chad Ochocinco, and he explained, I wasn't hacked. It was me.
Oh, no.
And he's trying to say that it was an accident.
But isn't it like you have to like create the whole like live thing?
In so many words, he said essentially that he chucked his phone down and it hit the right number of buttons to put him on IG.
No way.
And not a single human being is buying this because the entire time he's on the show, he's trying to hawk the merchandise for the show and stuff like that. It just feels... To me,
giving Kim Kardashian.
It feels like he did this on purpose because, again, there was no visual whatsoever, which feels like, if this accidentally happens while you're romping, something's going to be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It does feel that.
So you don't see any sexual parts.
No, you just hear it for several minutes. And anyway, so he says that he was embarrassed by it. He kind of apologized for it. He said he could have ruined a lot of people's lives because if something did show up on camera, it would have affected him and his job and all this, that, and the other. But for now, it seems nothing's happening. We're like I said, we're about to break the story that ESPN, he has a show, a morning show with Stephen A. Smith, and they're not going to punish him for it. And he was off today and tomorrow those are his days off. It's not because he's been punished or anything. And it looks like everything's going to be scot-free here, and he's making a ton of money on his merch and stuff. And
he's been getting it, clearly.
Yeah, and that's what everybody's joking that. They're like, man, Shannon Sharpe's got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's an older guy now.
Do we know who the woman is?
That's the other part of this equation.
Is he married?
At some point in the video, you hear him say what appears to be a Michelle.
Oh,
so
Michelle.
If you go on social media right now and you look for Michelle, it's everybody being like, who is Michelle? So.
Oh my
Wild
gosh.
story, right?
Michelle, we don't have any Michelles in this office. Yeah, no Michelle here at least.
Crazy Wednesday afternoon.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
Moving on to Justin Timberlake. You guys remember how we broke the story that he got a DWI back in New York. He had claimed at the time that he only had one martini, that he wasn't drunk. We all saw his mugshot. Well, guess what? He will plead guilty to just a traffic offense. This has been extremely reduced to what it could have been. And he basically sealed a plea deal in his DWI case, hammering out an agreement that does not involve drunk driving or even a criminal offense. His license will be suspended only in New York. But for the most part, he got off kind of scot-free. There is the charge that he is now going to have, basically that he's going to be copping to driving while ability impaired. So that means, like, let's say you're driving and you're not wearing your prescription glasses. Like, that's kind of driving while impaired. So little things like that. Yeah, I don't know. Great attorney, obviously.
Blown away by this. And it sends such a bad message, in my opinion. Like, I he refused the breathalyzer.
Right.
And that's always supposed to be looked down upon. I just don't know how.
And because he refused the breathalyzer, that's why his license is going to be suspended in New York.
But how was there never a warrant? Again, I'm so unfamiliar with New York. Forgive me if I sound uneducated. But how was there never a warrant issued for his blood to see what his BAC level was? How, as a prosecutors, do you not attempt to take this to trial? And you have all these officers who you've now undermined, right? Because there's several officers there who claimed he was drunk,
right?
And you have the ability to have
he
him
like
stand on the stand,
allegedly ran a stop sign,
and testify that he was doing this, and this. He listed this, and this. Here's the body cam footage of him doing this, and this, and these are all the signs. This only happened a few weeks ago, if not a few months ago at this point. To make this plea deal now, it just feels so icky to me. I don't want to convict Justin Timberlake of this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he's been adamant he's only had one martini, and I'm just saying that there are multiple police that said he did this.
Right.
And as a prosecutor, you're now saying basically he didn't, or we don't have enough evidence to prove it.
Probably not have enough evidence because, assuming Justin's attorney is poking holes in the entire investigation, and they technically don't really have proof, right? He didn't do the breathalyzer. They don't have significant proof that he was in fact drunk, other than just watching him, seeing him swerve, blow.
But my question is how as a police department did you not get that?
But also for them, maybe it's maybe they settle like this all the time. I personally don't know anyone that's gotten a DUI that's been able to get it down.
6 weeks later, down to a traffic offense.
Yeah, it's given rich people.
I know, and that's kind of the issue with all this. Like you would think that you don't want to give anybody special treatment. You don't want to even give the perception that there's special treatment, and yet here we are with this. But man, like you said, I believe his attorney is Ed Burke, and this is a clinic on how to deal with this case, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to almost news, Nikki Bella officially filed for divorce. Remember, we broke the story that Artem, her husband, was arrested for domestic violence in Napa County. And we had obtained some audio, basically where he had said that he was requesting medical assistance at their house. He said that Nikki was throwing shoes at him. He eventually called back to 911 and asked the dispatchers, please don't come, never mind. Well, about an hour and a half later, he was arrested for domestic violence. Nikki filed for divorce only weeks after he was arrested. And she went to court on Wednesday, filed for divorce after 2 years of marriage. And we obtained the documents. It shows the date of separation was the day of the incident. So it's not like there was things bubbling, they've been broken up, or anything like that. This was the incident that was the straw that broke the camel's back. They have one child together, 4-year-old Mateo. Unclear if there's a prenup involved, but she is asking for custody of the child with visitation for Mateo to see Artem. Interesting because she's not looking for 50-50 custody, just like her being the sole caregiver or whatever. And Artem would just have visitation rights. So very interesting and sad.
We still haven't heard from Artem, right?
No, nothing.
His side of the story and all this. This story is so sad. I would.
And we still don't really have the exact details as to what occurred. We just know, we just know shoes were alleged
apparently
to be thrown.
And she apparently had some sort of injury.
Some sort of injury in order for them to arrest
And
him for domestic violence.
I'm very surprised by that. And I keep saying this on the spot that like I'd love to hear from both sides before we make any sort of opinion. But at the end of the day, this thing looks like we talked
nasty.
About, it looks like this is headed for just nasty. You know,
it's going to be hard for him to get a job after this as well with these allegations.
And then his child, maybe he doesn't even get to see the child, depending on what the allegations are and how he's able to prove his side of the story, or if he even has a side of the story. Maybe his side of the story is, I did it, you know. So yeah, this is a crazy story and really sad one, man. Like this was a couple that a lot of people were rooting for, and everything appeared to be fine up until this August 29th, you know.
Moving on to today in history, things that happened on this day in the past. Today is National Day of Encouragement Day. I encourage you, Edward, to be your best self today. If you want to say something nasty, you're going to hold it in and you're going to say something sweet instead. Okay. Let's practice.
I think you're going to have a great day today.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. I'll take it. This day in 1953, JFK married Jackie O in Newport, Rhode Island. Iconic couple. This day in 1959, the first color TV show aired, which was a Western show called Bonanza. Do you like Westerns?
I like country music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Happy trails. This day in 1992, astronaut Mae Jemison became the first African-American woman to fly in space.
1992. That's a long ago.
I know. But, at least they started at some point. So this day in 2004, Entourage aired its last episode.
Entourage is my favorite show ever.
Is it?
I love Entourage.
We were on Entourage, actually. TMZ had a little segment in Entourage. It was only really Harvey and this other guy, but it was like TMZ TV had like a little moment.
I love Entourage. Amazing show.
Birthdays today: Jennifer Hudson, Yao Ming, Paul Walker, R.I.P., Emmy Rossum, Sydney Sweeney, Kelsey Ballerini, gosh, there's a lot of birthdays. And lastly, Charles Lataboutier. Happy birthday to our dear Charles. We already shouted out his birthday in the newsroom and he was mortified. So make sure you text him or tweet him or whatever, however you can reach him, and let him know he should have a happy birthday. All right, thank you, Edward, for joining me today.
Of course,
and
anytime.
We'll see you tomorrow.